Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Holy crapola.
This is
Ah.
officially the funnest, most stressful yet funnest interview I've ever done, and we haven't even started it yet. So.
Well, this silly thing is now that you can hear me through my the microphone, these little hearing things, it doesn't allow me to set the phone down
Oh,
because it will.
because the thing plugged in.
Yeah.
All right, well, just do your best to hold it as still as possible because you were doing the whole moving thing. I was like, stick here. So, um, this is why you invest in little devices like this to stick your phone in. Anyway. Gianna Sullivan is a happiness expert, and she's definitely going to help us grab back those negative thoughts that can creep in. And let's start with why this is such a passion project for you, because now more than ever, I think the world needs what you're selling, what you're teaching, what you're trying to communicate to people, because we're living in a very, very unhappy world right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, there's been such a tremendous increase through this pandemic, not only confusion and anger, but there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety. We've been hit terribly hard with economic impact. Um, you know, those who have kids and had to homeschool and work and just pulling your hair out and trying to be close and have some camaraderie. It certainly has been a challenging time. And more now than ever is the time to reconnect with yourself and try and establish this inner state of peace within, regardless. And that's what this happiness that I teach is an inner state of being, regardless of the consequences that are happening.
Yes. Or the circumstances of your life. I think some people like to make the saying, I'll be happy when, and then the blank, some esoteric, sometimes attainable, sometimes never attainable thing. But then sometimes they get that thing, Gianna, and they're not happy. Like, I'll be happy when I make more money. But then you make more money and you go, why am I more unhappy now? Sure.
Yeah, it's the happy, I'll be happy when, I get married. I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds. I'll be happy when I graduate. Happy when I get divorced. I'll be happy, da, 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 da. And it's a transitional thing. It's a temporary thing. It's usually not a long-lasting one. So to be a long-lasting one, you have to work within certain pillars is what I call them, was what I teach. And one of the pillars is the mind. And that has to deal with your thought process.
Yes.
So that makes a tremendous amount of difference.
Those thoughts can be a bitch sometimes, though. Because what happens is you think a negative thought, and then that negative thought spurs baby negative thoughts, which then you may start to dwell on those, and you go down this deep, dark hole, rabbit hole, unless you catch it, unless you call a friend and that kind of brightens you, or unless you yourself find the wherewithal to get out in the sun and breathe deeply, exercise, do things that are happy. Watch my favorite kind of go-to when I see myself spiraling is I go watch some comedy, and it always brings me back. It's not always, but most of the time it brings me back. And I think recognition of that when it's happening is such a key to all this.
Yeah, so we have we have 60,000 thoughts a day. And tomorrow you'll have I take that back. We have 90,000 thoughts a day. And tomorrow you will have this about 60%, 80% of the same thoughts you had yesterday.
Yes.
So that's what I was trying to say. So we just keep living the same thoughts, and how do you break them? So those thoughts and behaviors can either be a positive or a negative. Like if you're Teflon versus Velcro, something Teflon will just kind of smooth and go with the flow, and then there's the Velcro that you're just sticking to some of the negative stuff. So it's all about behaviorals, and we have these neural pathways, cellular neural pathways in our brain. So it's almost like addictions. You have to go through changing your thought process, and there's certain ways to do it, and you know, you're not going to conquer everything all at once. But in your journey, you know, your walk is a journey, and you take it little by little. But there is a way to catch yourself when you do have a negative thought, and just don't allow that happiness to rob you. Like you had the opportunity to have happiness rob you this morning, but you didn't. Okay, so there's definitely, it's a law of attraction. You know, people draw when you have a light around you, or they see you're happy. They want what you have.
Yeah.
So that's all the fun things about it. And if you're negative, people don't like to be around negativity.
No. Yeah, and it's something that has been a basic life philosophy for me for a very long time. There's a piece of paper in front of the screen. I can't see you now.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. You're hiding your face. That doesn't make me happy. I need to say beautiful face. So, but it's been a basic philosophy of mine for a long time to be happy. And it's not so much to say it's not okay to be unhappy. It is okay to be unhappy. It's okay to not feel wonderful and positive all the time. I think there are some people that they go to kind of a toxic level of too happy, too much all the time, and it comes across as fake. Mm-hmm. I feel like you can be happy and have a positive attitude even in the midst of bad circumstances, rather than the flip side of just being always upset, always a negative nanny. They end up being Karens out there in the real world on all the viral videos that they call people Karen. Those are unhappy people out there. But like, there's extremes on both ends, and I think what you're trying to teach is, hey, there's a balance there.
Well, attitude is definitely the key to happiness. And you know, it's an unconscious thing. Once you do something over and over and over again, it becomes an unconscious type of behavior. So if you are one way, all you have to do is continue to have a more, you just keep continuing to work with it. Those cellular neural pathways will change until they become an automatic unconscious behavior. So this is a very tricky thing, holding this phone, by the way, because I'm Italian. Italians like to use their hands. So this is a perfect thing. So I can express my expression without using my hands. I'm sure other Italians might know.
I'm testing your happiness today, Gianna. So here, something that will help is if you will lift it a little higher, because I'm getting I can see the bottom of your face, but kind of try to come straight at your face. There you go. There you go. Now, okay.
I'm going to be a movie star. I know this is going to happen. Yeah. See, well, I'm just a genuine person, and I connect one-on-one. I have a passion for people, and I have a passion to teach things. And but IT and I don't like each other. Like if I walk up to a printer, they're already the printer's saying, "Oh my God, here she comes, watch out." So yeah. So but it's your behavior, it's your thought. You're going to do it. You can make it happen. You're going to do all your best to try. Okay, you haven't failed if you tried, and you just keep trying. And it's how you look at it. Like, you're my hero. You'll be my hero now, Jimmy, for the rest of this day at least, because you've actually acclimated me how to get onto Instagram, and everyone's probably laughing about that.
But henceforth, you never have to see. I was the perfect person because my demeanor was not going to be unhappy and mean and rude. Which let's go there a second, because let's just say this scenario that played out between you and me for 40 minutes today of frustration with IT. If somebody was an asshole, you would have probably been like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to skip this interview." But you stuck with me because I kept smiling. I was trying to crack jokes, and I was being who I am, because it's just a part of me to try to not just be happy myself, but to exude happiness and spread it to other people. Because look, it's contagious, right?
Okay, so what do you do there? What you did, you do what you love and you love what you do. And
Yes.
because of that, you attract others and you just keep on going and going and going. So something as silly as someone like you knowing a lot about technology and maybe I don't, instead of saying, oh, I can think of a lot of good words right now, you didn't. You didn't. You just said, yeah, okay, I, this is going to happen. I'm going to make this happen,
Yeah.
and how it will happen, it will. I mean, this is a success story.
Real Good Foods is one of the fastest growing frozen food companies in the U.S. Everything they make is nutrient dense, high in protein, low in carbs, and made from real food ingredients. Instead of using processed flours, everything they make is 100% grain-free and gluten-free, which is how they keep their carbs so low. They can be found at Costco, Walmart, Target, Kroger, and in almost every grocery store nationwide. Or you can order online. Check us out today at realgoodfoods.com and at Real Good Foods on social media.
Well, I was going to say, it was perfect for what we were talking about. We got on Skype, you guys. This is where I do a lot of my interviews. We got on Skype, and I could hear her, but I couldn't see her.
Yeah.
Tried to get on here, and she couldn't get on. So then she went back to Skype, and she got her video to work on another computer, but then her audio didn't work. And then we got her on here 40 minutes later, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You know, there's something to be said that every day you wake up and you think that you're going to receive abundant joy, abundant happiness, abundant success as you do to others. So as you do that to others, it comes back to you.
Yes.
So you trained me, you just did a great job, and so you're gleaming, and so am I. And and so any of the inconveniences kind of dissipated, and you're victorious in that. And so in this happiness, there are like different pillars. There's it's like a house. There's a roof. There's foundations. There's, mind, body, heart. But, in that foundation, that's where we have to be held accountable for our actions. So we have to work at that. And it's not easy, but if we start, like every day I go outside and I assign 5 Academy Awards to whatever I see and enjoy. It might be a cardinal, it might be, awesome lightning or something. And then at the end of the week, I assign just the winner. So that's my own little, just to do something positive.
Yeah.
Because we could always look at something and get down on ourselves. But you don't want to wake up in the morning and say, I can't do it, I'm a loser, I'll never do it, I'll never make it.
Oh.
But a lot of people do that. Instead, thank God, I meditate, I pray a lot, and you have to take time for yourself, and you have to try and love yourself and know that we're all, we're not all perfect, but we're all belong together to make a story. And this is our journey. And as you walk, you leave those little breadcrumbs along the way, and then you can find your way back or others to find you.
And I remember growing up, I'd have people in my life that would say, Jimmy, it takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. And I would apply it to happiness versus sadness. It probably takes a lot more work to be sad than it does to be happy. Like, happiness has to be this state of mind and grabbing control of your thoughts. Now, I talk a lot about nutrition and things like that in my work, but I feel like feeding your brain positivity, affirmations, self-love, those are feeding and nourishing your body just as much as good food is.
Yep. There's a theologian, I think his name is William Barclay, said there are 2 great moments in your life, and that is the day that you're born and the day that you figure out why. So, it's important that we know for a fact, epigenetics and science has proven all of us have a 50%, we're born with 50% happiness genetically. All right. So in this pie chart, if they are 100%, the other 40% is your behavior. Now, pending what's happened in your life or how you want to change your life or how you see life can change. That 40% can either be happy, positive, or negative. If it's positive, that 40 and plus the 50 you're born with is 90% right there that you're happy.
Yes.
The other little 10% are unfortunate little things that can happen to you.
It's life that happens. Life is
right.
And shit happens is great. And it does. And it's okay when shit happens. You might have that on the map of, okay, well, this sucks. Now what? Then you back to the happiness spectrum.
Yep. And I feel like more than ever during the pandemic, I felt like it was more than anything. I didn't care if I got paid or not. I wanted to make sure people understood how important, how much they were valued, how much they contribute. And it's kind of like the artist's palette, because as you paint, you have various colors, right? Beautiful colors, right? But and look at how the Sistine Chapel was, or one of these wondrous paintings that can happen. But if you mix all the colors together, it can become a dullish color. And I felt like that's what was almost starting to happen. We have so much to give, and we have so much to, emanate joy and peace and work together. So evil begets evil. So, if get people angry and want to be violent, and that continues and continues. And then there are the peaceful people, but they don't really do, we can't just stay and allow that to happen. There's other ways to do it. And you bond. And as you grow and you bond, you learn things. Like I just learned how to hold the phone with one hand so I could actually talk with my left hand as an Italian. So everything happens, it just happens. There's too many incredibly intelligent people, vibrant, healthy. I mean, we have a light around us. And some people call it the chakra and the universe. But I'm telling you, we are empowered. We can do great. And when we put our power and focus on that, you can, excel. And it's endless. It's boundaryless. It really is.
Can I tell you a story? So last March, I came back March 1st from a 6-month sabbatical. I had just gone completely away from all my work. I'd worked for 15 years in a row, podcasting, book writing. I wrote 7 books, 7 years. I was doing all kind of stuff, and I'm like, I got to get away. And in that 6 months of being away, I changed internally. I came to terms with some trauma from my past childhood trauma and things that happened with that. Things in my personal life that shifted everything in my life. But I became peaceful from within. So that when I came back, and then 2 weeks later after coming back, the pandemic starts, something shifted in my head that said, Jimmy, the diet stuff's cool and all, and keep doing that, but it's not your mission now. Your mission now is to be light. Your mission now is to be an encourager. Your mission now is to uplift and even challenge people in a gentle way that they can be better, and to show them happiness is attainable, and being that demonstration on camera. And I had no sponsors last year because of the pandemic. People were scared. I didn't care. It was about how can I have an influence on the world, because being positive and making an influence brought me happiness, which then let me exude it on the camera to talk to people this way. It became this kind of thing that fed in, so that now that we're on the other side of that somewhat, we're still going through the pandemic, but on the other side, and some of the sponsors have come back, I'm still doing it, and I'm still enjoying it, and I feel like it's my purpose in this world. And that too has also kind of given me even more happiness. When I thought I was pretty happy before, I'm abundantly more happy now.
Yep. And if you can't change a situation, you can change your attitude about the
Yeah.
situation. You really can. And you can start pointing out positive things, and you can join together. So you can, in which you are right now, what has happened with you. You are the light in darkness. You research, you know that you have a great gift, and you're trying to allow other people to know how important it is to be merciful, to be kind, to be compassionate, to enjoy and embrace the gift of life of others. You know, that people who are, yeah, and you may not all agree, but it doesn't mean that you cannot embrace one another, and in so doing you will be happier. You just will be happier, and you'll have a peacefulness within your life.
So, Gianna, let's dissect the unhappiness, because earlier you mentioned it was about bringing your thoughts under control. Why do we grab on to some negative thought, even with the forethought of knowing negative thoughts always become a cancer to this happiness that you're desiring? What makes us dwell so heavily, worshiping those negative thoughts so much?
That's a really great question. I'm not a psychologist in that, and I will have to dig deeper into trying to research that. But we all seem to lean more towards that than we would the
Yes.
other way.
It's
I
the,
believe it could be maybe the way part of us of how we were brought up. You know, when we are little tiny tots, and the first between now and when you're, I think, if I'm not mistaken, up until fifth grade, you know, kids are laughing and happy, but it depends what's being instilled in you. If
yeah.
someone says when you're little, you're no good, you'll be nothing in your life, or I don't love you. We need to say I love you to our kids all the time, and sometimes we are so predisposed to time element in business and what we have to do, and we get caught up in that we forget that we have what we have around us. So I believe it starts from when you're younger, and what you've been involved with, and wanting to feel accepted and not rejected, and those little things start creeping up on you.
Yes, and I feel so much of a connection to those kids that go through trauma as a child. I was beaten and verbally abused by my father in my teenage years from 13 until I got out of the house at almost 18. And it was brutal. I mean, it took 15 years to stop feeling anger, to stop looking over my shoulder thinking he's coming to kill me. I mean, those are very real thoughts. And it's hard to be happy in the midst of that kind of an experience. And I know I'm not the only one that went through trauma, but trauma has such a lingering effect. And some people, quite frankly, never get over their trauma because they don't put in the work to try to figure out, okay, how do I deal with that in my head so that I can be happy? And yet they always desire happiness, but in a way, the trauma defined who they were. And so therefore, when they're not in a traumatic kind of state, they feel uncomfortable. Happiness would be uncomfortable in that context.
Yeah, and substance abuse as well. How
Yes.
many of us are just pressured in the society, or groups, and when you're younger, and so many tragic things happen, especially now with fentanyl, and
Yes.
it's very sad. But that's just the way see, but we can bounce back from that.
Yes.
We can make that change, and we just have to use some prudence, and really join together and work together. It's just amazing.
Come together right over me. Sorry, I have to sing on my podcast, or it's not a podcast till I sing.
You're
Well,
funny,
let's
Jimmy.
do those things that can paralyze us on the journey to happiness. So we talked about the negative thoughts and dwelling on those. Are there other factors? I'm assuming external factors of circumstances in your life, I assume, would be one of those things that would paralyze you.
Well, yeah, things, your health, there are studies and research that actually show a very well-known scientists who brought together kids in college, and they would look at water, and they would send waves of negativity and waves of hatred,
Yes.
feelings towards water. And they would do the same with the opposite, waves of love, like you talk to your plants, I love you, grow, and or the same with negative, positive, loving thoughts too. That's right. And what happens is when it crystallized, you should see the beauty that came out of the ones that were positive, and the evil figures that came out with the ones that were a hatred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Having a hard time reaching my goal weight.
Just use Keto Chow, the magical meal replacement that makes keto easy. Prep takes seconds. Just add the fat you want, Keto Chow, water, and shake. And before you know it, you'll be getting rid of the fat you don't want.
I did it!
I can't believe you're finally here!
Jimmy loves KetoChow.com.
So it's called the happiness continuum. There's, you have no middle of the rope. There's only two ends. I mean, in the one side is you're very negative, you're fearful, anxious, depressed. As you know, depression is number 2 now from the World Health Organization. But from situational things, just those sentiments versus the happiness that you are an achiever, you are a victor, not a victim, and you are optimistic and you want to do good, and you have that attitude of positiveness and compassion. And then there's some in the middle. You could be happy again if you use drug abuse, or some people who feel that they need something to make them feel better. But there is what they call a continuum, happiness continuum, and that's what that's all about.
Yeah, I think about all the people that rely on all these things to help them be happy, and I'm going to put it in quotation marks. Think about when you wake up in the morning, what do a lot of people grab? Jimmy doesn't, just because I don't like the taste of it, but a lot of people grab coffee. Why? Not because they need it per se. They've convinced themselves they need it. Well, I can't be happy until I have my coffee. And then they're supposedly happy. And then after work, what do they do? I know I need a capper after work. So they go and get some drinks after work, or they go out on the town. A lot of people use drugs, as you mentioned. A lot of people turn to other worldly pleasures, sex, food, you name it. We're looking for happiness in all the wrong places, to kind of paraphrase that song. Mm-hmm. And it seems to me all of those are Band-Aids for true happiness.
Right. So a real true happiness for no reason is something that's an internal peace, a sense of well-being. That's the happy for no reason. Then there's the happiness from like health, or you get satisfaction from healthy experiences. Then it goes downward. Those are the ones that are more happy from unhealthy situations. And then there's just the downright dispirited ones that are not good at all. So if you think about it, you get 95% of the same thoughts you had as yesterday. And if those thoughts are negative, man, that's just like, a whirlwind. So you have to break it. And I would show you a way, like even a simple tool. I could probably talk it through to you. So fold your hands like you're going to fold them in prayer. Yeah, fold your hands and then intertwine your fingers. Yes, great. Oh, we're communicating well now. Okay, so which thumb is on top, the right or the left?
My right thumb is on top.
Okay, let me see. Your right thumb is on top.
Right thumb.
And if your right thumb is on top, that says that you're highly intelligent. If your left hand is on top, it means you're more sexier, relationship-oriented, romance, okay? And if both are kind of sticking out, Like I did a podcast where the guy had both his thumbs up. Yeah, no, put him forward, both of them forward, Jimmy, not that way. Listen to you. That means you only wish you were happy and oh my goodness. So
fun. I'm being happy doing this experiment with you. Keep going.
So the idea is you wanna think happy things. Whenever you have a situation, you have the opportunity to feel a feeling of contraction or expansion. So if something is happening to you, you know, sometimes you feel like you're choking or you get symptomatic gut feelings or something like, you can think, okay, is this a happy thing? Am I unhappy? Am I having fear? Am I pessimistic? Am I having a low energy? Am I feeling separated in some way? Am I just feeling bad? Versus if you were in a situation where you're feeling expansion. If you're expanding, you feel love, kindness, but a flow. You feel this flow and acceptance. You're feeling connected. You're feeling good. Those are like things that, so you're feeling inspired would be a good one. You know, an action that you're doing is expansion would make you an action of being inspired. You're feeling passionate about what you do. Maybe you want to serve. Maybe you're doing service. You want to be of service to someone. But it's that flow of being engaged. That's the expansion part that you want to check yourself with. And then the other part would be like the contraction is, you know, are you feeling, you know, you're not being directed. You don't have any direction. You feel like in a maze. Maybe you're bored. Are you bored? You know, they're not being inspired. You're not having those inspiration, not inspired emotions. That's, you know, really the way you have to, maybe you're only thinking about yourself. Instead of being selfless, maybe you're being a little selfish. Your sole interest is yourself.
Yes, you can't be narcissistic and be happy. I don't know many narcissists that are happy because they don't think of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they do, it's a temporary thought. But the whole idea is be inspired what you do. Do what you love and love what you do. Really. And look at your life. I mean, some people, you know, I read that a lot of people who work in a situation, most of them don't even care if they got more money. They just want to be valued and recognized. Acknowledged.
I just read a survey. This just came out last week. 95% of people would change their job if they could. 95%. I'm like, that is extremely high. Okay, is that because the situation is a bad one, or is it because their mindset about it isn't what it needs to be? And I'm going to say it's probably a mix of both, a healthy mix of both of those things. Mm-hmm. It could be a bad situation, or it could just be you're ungrateful that you have a job at all. You should be grateful for it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a clinical pharmacist by vocation, okay? And in the golden years before, I mean, when you did clinical stuff, I mean, you were very much part of really changing and helping the lives of others. And then, you know, now I had also worked from hospital to retail, so I have a feel of both and upper management. And, you know, it gets to the point where companies start wanting money. It's all about money, assets, and they push and push and push you till you're just like a robot.
Yeah.
Instead of realizing that, you know, people are real. They're real souls. They're real people inside, and they deserve to be valued and recognized. And you don't see too many mom and pop pharmacies anymore. They don't make it. But, you know, I climbed the ladder. You know, I went to USC and got my PharmD, and then UCLA and did my internships in Clarksville. But after I took my boards, and I climbed the ladder, and I was at the best part of my entire life, you know, and yeah, I was pretty much into myself. I was the most yuppie that there would be, right? And then I personally had a divine encounter. And when that happens, the scales, I mean, I just can't tell you, you know, when it happens. And so I was invited to leave what I knew and live my life for the underserved population, the less fortunate, to help restore dignity, healing through love. And so that's what I did. I started a medical mobile clinic. Now it's a national one, Ben. But the idea was, when I was doing that, you realize that even the people that we were serving and giving free healthcare, free dentistry, free prescription, they were happy temporarily because their physical ailments were being addressed. However, interiorly, there was what needed to be healed was interior. They were not happy. There was big blocks. There were very big negative thoughts that caused the physical components and ailments. So this is why I got motivated to find out,
Yes.
you know what, whatever it takes, people need to know how special they are and learn the tools how to do that. And that's when I went into like the science part of it for the thoughts and how to, there's certain things. That's how I came along.
Who I have a heart, who I have a heart for that nobody has a heart for? It's the haters, the trolls online that seem to say the ugliest things possible. And I see a lot of my fellow influencers that are kind of newer to getting some of that. I've gotten it for over 15 years, so I'm a little used to it by now. But a lot of my fellow influencers, they let it change their demeanor. They let it make them unhappy. And I try to explain to them, when you get that kind of a response, think about what they're going through in their life that would make them talk to a complete stranger in that way. And it changes your whole view about them. You start having compassion for them, love for them. I wonder what's happening in their life. I wonder what happy thoughts I could throw their way. I always try to respond kindly when I get that kind of ugliness to me. And sometimes it flips them around. Sometimes they're like, holy crap, somebody's treating me like a human for the first time in my life. And maybe that's what it was. Others double down and they get ugly and you have to block and delete them. But a lot of times people do change. They just needed somebody to show that somebody gives a damn about them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then some people are just too afraid to do anything. Some people are too indifferent to even do anything. And, well, I can tell you there's no time for fear. There's only time for change. I feel bad also for people who are indifferent and self-seeking in one way. But don't let that change you. You're the light. And so people want to contribute. I know they do. They want to. They like people. It's their natural way of being. And there is a sense of being happy that way.
Are you tired of playing the mask game? Me too. That's why I wanted to tell you about the Unmask. This is a breathable, completely breathable. It covers, you can't even see that it's breathable, but it's breathable. Whether you're going on a plane, having to go into a store and wearing this thing, playthemaskgame.com is how you can get this mask. They come in all kinds of colors and everything. In fact, right there, you can see right through it what it is, but when you're wearing it, it does not look like it's anything different, but it's breathable, baby. Playthemaskgame.com.
And I think the happiness comes when you finally, and you touched on this earlier, but when you finally find kind of your purpose in this world. I try to always help people because I feel like I'm living my purpose right now, but I always try to help people tap into what their purpose is. And maybe they don't always see it. Maybe they need someone on the outside that can objectively go, maybe you should try this. This would be kind of a good pathway for you to go down. And by doing that, having that fulfillment, their purpose being fulfilled, it creates this happiness in them that, but for them finding that, they would just be left swirling, trying to figure out, why am I always kind of unfulfilled, unhappy in life?
Yeah. We all are given talents. And, maybe you love medicine. Maybe you love nonprofits. Maybe you love exercising and gyms and things like that. Everybody always has a purpose. And you just have to do it. You have to lean towards it. And you have to listen to your heart. And so take some time of quiet meditation time and listen to what your body's telling you.
Yes.
And you know your body better than anyone else, but there's so much noise out there. And I think it's important for us to just take time for ourselves and be kind to ourselves, and then do it, you know?
Just do it.
Just start your journey, you know? You can start it. I'm not saying it's all going to fall together in one time, you know?
Yeah.
You start a business, it takes a few years to get it up and running. But don't...
started what I'm doing now. It took probably 10 years before I made, money that I would say, whoa. But it was like 10 years where I learned the ropes. I learned people interaction. I learned to be happy even without. And in the midst of the without and being happy in the midst of it was what propelled me to all the opportunities that opened up. I got a book deal. I got sponsors. I got all these ways to be fulfilled. But even more than that, I felt like I had a mission and a purpose. And I've written some books that people say changed their life. And like that happiness, I can't trade that for anything. All those experiences led to that.
Yep, we all have hardships and obstacles, and I think that's life is sending us a message, and if we do not respond to that message, it will only continue to have a conflict. And so it's not, it's not some type of a roadblock, but it is a way that we need to listen to our soul, and we're being taught something. So we have to embrace. We have to embrace our desires and try to seek to fulfill them.
Well, and related to what I do with nutrition, I know that there's a lot of neurological pathways that get turned on with a ketogenic diet, for example, that makes the brain more, I guess, accepting of happiness. And of course, we get to eat things like bacon, which has like lots of dopamine release from having happy foods like that. Exercise, like you mentioned earlier, could be a passion for people. That also kind of boosts the dopamine. Can you talk a little bit about some of the like neural pathways and how those impact your happiness and your ability to be happy?
Well, yes. It's more in depth that you can have your dopamine and your serotonin, and you have your parasympathetic and sympathetic system. All intertwines in having release of hormones and how we respond to that. And those are, that's all typical science, and sometimes you might need medications to turn it off, right? But I think that you have to respond to these pathways, even though you may get a negative neuropath thought. You can change your behavior, and you continually do it on and on. Catch yourself when you have like a negative thought or something.
Yeah.
Catch it and change your thought. It takes time, and what you will see is it will change around, and you will automatically start living unconsciously a positive way. Your behavior will become totally different, and those are the type of neurochemicals that change. It would probably take more time to go over all of those things, which I'm happy to do. But I haven't. Now we took 40 minutes trying to get online. Now I have. I'm stuck with another. I have to pretty soon run to another meeting.
Okay, coming up. Yeah, we're almost done. Definitely, people could check out your work. Give the website one more time.
It's fasttracktohappiness.com, and if even in the blog there's stuff that talks about the depression, they'll talk about the sympathetic and parasympathetic system and serotonin and how all of the hormones start interacting. So it's all listed there for them, and there's YouTube, you can even see it on YouTube. But the most important thing for your program is people to know that, first of all, that you, Jimmy, are authentic, and that you have a tremendous light with you, and what you have to say is really of a value. and continue wonderful works that you're doing, because that simply is your mission. I mean, you can tell and just radiate with it. And I would just congratulate, endorse everyone who does listen to you, and invite them to come see my website, but to know that they have a wonderful purpose in their life too, and to know that I acknowledge them and I thank them for listening, because everyone has a purpose.
You get to be happy, and you get to be happy, and you get to be happy.
I just wish everyone much love and success, and I want them to be happy, and I want them to have fun trying to check out different neural pathways in their brain.
Yes, and we had so much more we could talk about, but thank you, and sorry about all the technical issues at the very beginning, but we had a wonderful interview. Thank you so much, Gianna Sullivan. Guys, go check her out over at her website. And Gianna, thank you so much, and enjoy your day.
Okay, you too. Yeah, maybe we'll connect again soon.
Can I see Bobby McFerrin? Don't worry.
Be happy.
See, I'm showing my age with that song. So.
See ya. Thanks so much, Jimmy.
You experienced the dreaded keto flu? Did you know that most of these symptoms are actually due to your body dumping excess electrolytes? This is where Element comes in. Element is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing you don't. That means lots of salt with no sugar. Element is formulated to help anyone with their electrolyte needs and is perfectly suited to folks following a keto, low-carb, or paleo diet. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium, with none of the junk, no sugar, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, no gluten, no fillers, no BS. Everyone needs electrolytes, especially those on low-carb diets, or if you practice intermittent or extended fasting, if you're physically active, or sweat a lot. Add Element today and see how much better you feel and perform. Use the URL drinklmnt.com/Jimmy.